Let me say something provocative right out of the gate. A lot of people are not dating for love. They're dating for relief. Relief from loneliness, relief from insecurity, relief from boredom, relief from trauma, from silence, from feeling unseen. Some people are not looking for a partner. They're looking for a human emotional support animal with a car, and a phone charger. Just saying. And when people date for relief instead of purpose, peace, and spiritual alignment, they keep choosing relationships that match their wounds instead of their future. We're living in a generation that knows how to attract attention, but does not fully know how to sustain covenant. People know how to flirt, how to text, how to post, how to ghost, how to soft launch relationships, and how to post my person after knowing somebody for about 6 business days. But many don't know how to communicate, how to repair conflict, how to stay emotionally present, how to trust, how to love patiently, or how to build peace. And a deeper issue is this: many of us were never properly formed relationally. Some people do not have dating problems, they have formation problems, wearing cologne and lashes. Here's the deal: the house forms you before dating ever did. And I say that because a lot of modern dysfunction did not start on dating apps. It started in living rooms. It started in homes where fathers were physically present or not, but emotionally absent. Mothers became emotionally overextended and overinvolved, micromanagers. Boys learned emotional silence, the girls learned emotional survival, and everybody learned coping mechanisms instead of emotional health. So hear me carefully. This is not about blaming men. This is not about attacking women. This is about understanding formation, because children absorb relationship dynamics long before they understand them. And what feels normal in adulthood is often just repeated childhood emotional training. That's why some people confuse chaos with chemistry. Some people think they found the one, when really, they found the familiar. Some relationships are not spirit-led. They're trauma-formed. They're trauma-informed. What feels natural is not always healthy. Sometimes it is just familiar. Some people are not choosing partners, they're choosing emotional patterns. Some relationships are not soulmates, they're unresolved childhood group projects. And this has been going on forever. Because remember, Adam was there. Yeah, I'm talking Adam and Eve. Adam was there, but he was missing, right? Think about it. The Bible showed us this in Genesis 3. Eve talked to the servant, right? Eve is talking to the serpent. And the text says she gave the fruit to Adam, who was with her. That line has always bothered me. It's always struck me as pretty heavy because Adam was there, right? But he was absent. Physically present, but passive spiritually. Silent emotionally. Church, that's still happening right now. Some men are in relationships physically while emotionally unreachable. They disappear into work, entertainment, endless scrolling, emotional shutdown, silence, pornography, or just other distractions. Some men know every stat from ESPN but cannot identify one emotional besides, I'm good, or, I don't do that like that. Or whatever the latest cliche is for being copacetic. Brother, that is not emotional intelligence. That's emotional hide and seek. Some fathers paid bills but never disciplined and never discipled hearts. And when emotional leadership disappears, somebody compensates, usually mama. So mothers become protector, emotional manager, communicator, stabilizer, organizer, decision maker. Not because they necessarily wanted control, but because survival required overfunctioning. Adam's first failure was not eating the fruit, it was going silent while confusion entered the relationship. And some men still think leadership means making final decisions. But sometimes leadership is answering the text message. So what does this do to the boys? Now, well, let's delve into that. A boy learns masculinity mostly through observation. He watches. He watches how conflict is handled, how emotions are processed, how responsibility is carried, how decisions are made, how to feel, how love feels. So when fathers become emotionally absent and mothers become hyper involved, boys often grow up emotionally conflicted. Some because passivity was modeled. Some become emotionally dependent on feminine approval because feminine energy became the emotional center of the home. Some struggle with decision making because every decision was managed for them. Some avoid conflict because disagreement felt emotionally unsafe. And now you have grown men who fear vulnerability, fear criticism, avoid difficult conversations, struggle to lead confidently, and emotionally shut down under pressure. Not because they're weak, because many were never emotionally initiated into mature masculinity. Someone were taught how to hustle, but never taught how to emotionally stay in the room. And now a whole generation of men knows how to grind, build, perform, achieve, flex, and acquire, while still struggling to say, my bad, I was wrong. I feel hurt. Help me understand. I'm still here. Some men disappear emotionally faster than church members after the benediction. A boy who is never trusted to choose often becomes a man afraid to decide. Some men are not weak, they're emotionally undeveloped. They're emotionally underdeveloped. Presence without emotional engagement is still absence. Some men think communication means sending WYD at 11:48 p.m. Now let's talk about the girls though. What does this do to the girls? When girls grow up watching emotionally absent masculinity and emotionally overburdened, overcharged femininity, many learn I cannot fully depend on people emotionally. So they adapt. They become highly capable, emotionally alert, hyper independent, protective, resilient, and emotionally guarded. Again, that strength is not evil. Some women became strong because life demanded strength early, but survival mode eventually affects intimacy. Because when a woman has spent years carrying everything emotionally, she struggles later to rest, trust, soften, receive, or collaborate peacefully. So now some women enter relationships wanting peace while emotionally preparing for disappointment. And then they meet emotionally passive men, and a cycle continues. Heard someone use the term nonchalant. Some women say, I'm just matching energy. Says both of y'all are tired. Some women are not hard to love. They're exhausted from carrying emotional weight alone. Hyperindependence is often survival mode, wearing success clothes, and control starts feeling like wisdom when instability traumatizes you long enough. Some people say they're guarded. I don't know. You built Fort Knox with Wi-Fi. Now, watch modern dating. Here comes the modern dating culture. A man raised around emotionally absent becomes avoidant, emotionally uncertain, conflict resistant, passive. A woman around instability becomes vigilant, emotionally intense, overfunctioning, protective, micromanagers. And then they date. He withdraws because he feels criticized. She presses harder because she feels unsafe. He shuts down. She escalates emotionally. He feels disrespected. She feels abandoned. And now both people are reacting to old wounds while calling it incompatibility. A lot of couples are not fighting each other. They're fighting the homes they came from. Some relationships are not relationships. They're two traumatized people playing emotional dodgeball with Bible verses and screenshots. People keep calling it chemistry, while their nervous system is calling it familiarity. And some folks say, we just have a toxic connection. Nah, that is spiritual and emotional Wi-Fi from unresolved trauma. Disconnect the router. Just saying. So this is why you must date with purpose. This is where the dating ID quiz becomes important because the goal is not labeling people, the goal is awareness. Some people date from fear, validation, loneliness, trauma, ego, insecurity, and emotional survival. But healthy dating begins with self-awareness. You need to know how to react, how to attach, how to communicate, how you shut down, how you pursue, how you protect yourself, and what wounds still influence your choices. Because if you do not know your patterns will choose for you. And purpose matters because dating without purpose creates emotional chaos. Purpose asks, does this relationship align with peace? Does it align with growth? Does it align with purpose? Does it deepen my relationship with God? Does this relationship create emotional safety or emotional confusion? Because attraction alone is not discernment. Dating with purpose turns people into emotional tourists. Attention is easy to get, but peace is harder to build. Some relationships look exciting but feel emotionally expensive, and you should not have to lose your peace to prove your love. If every conversation feels like a hostage negotiation, that is not kingdom marriage preparation. Say that again. If every conversation feels like a hostage negotiation, that is not kingdom marriage preparation. So what do we do? What's the cure? What's the biblical cure, right? Now here's the hope. One thing I always try to do is make sure we land on hope. The gospel does not just forgive sin, it heals formation. James 1:19 says, Be quick to hear. Be quick to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger. Healthy relationships slow down. They slow down. They slow down reactions, slow down assumptions, slow down emotional warfare. Because wounded people react quickly. Healed people listen carefully. Some couples don't communicate. They submit emotional subpoenas. And Ephesians 5 tells men to love like Christ. Well, how did Christ love? He loved sacrificially, patiently, presently, tenderly, truthfully. Jesus washed feet, y'all. He listened. Jesus stayed emotionally engaged. Jesus carried responsibility without humiliating people. That's biblical masculinity. Not domination, not passivity, but presence. And women are not called to carry the emotional garden alone. They're called into peaceful partnership rooted in wisdom, trust, grace, honesty, patience, and spiritual alignment. So, what does healing look like practically? It looks like men learning emotional language, consistency, accountability, spiritual leadership, and emotional presence. Not domination, but presence. It looks like a woman learning vulnerability, trust, emotional softness, healthy boundaries, and how to stop carrying everything alone. Not weakness, but wisdom. It looks like couples praying together, listening carefully, apologizing quickly, repairing conflict, and choosing grace over ego or control. Because grace changes atmosphere before it changes the outcome. Being slow to speak means valuing understanding more than winning. Being slow to speak means valuing understanding more than winning. Some relationships do not need more passion, they need more peace. Healing people stop dating for survival and start dating for purpose. The inner shift is this. This is why spiritual care in the age of chaos matters, because healthy relationships begin with healthy souls. In your inner world, if your inner world is fragmented, defensive, anxious, reactive, spiritually distracted, emotionally exhausted, that eventually enters your relationships. Inner healing creates relational healing. Stillness creates discernment. Spiritual maturity creates emotional maturity. And emotional maturity protects peace. Some people keep changing partners when they really need healing. A new relationship cannot heal an old nervous system by itself. Now hear me. Now hear me clearly. You are not doomed to repeat your parents' dysfunction, your emotional wounds, your defensive habits, your unhealthy patterns, your fear of intimacy, your relational confusion. Christ can rebuild people. He teaches passive men how to become present, exhausted women how to trust again, wounded people how to communicate with grace, and fearful people how to love with peace. And maybe the greatest witness this generation needs is not more relationship podcasts. Maybe it is emotionally healthy, spiritually grounded, peaceful love, where homes are honest, because honesty feels safe. Grace is normal. Homes where grace is normal. Peace is protected. And Christ is truly present, because the goal is not merely dating. The goal is dating with purpose, presence, peace, wisdom, and spiritual alignment. Purpose, pace, and peace, right? And because Jesus got up from the grave, you don't have to stay who survival taught you to be. Christ heals formation. And maybe the most attractive thing in this generation is not money, not status, not aesthetics like lashes and perfume or cologne. It's not followers. Maybe it's emotional maturity. Maybe peace. Yeah, maybe peace really is sexy. Just saying.